Hello and welcome to The Corner. I'm the Frosted Glass. I'm joined by my fellow Alabaster Savages, Jack Gunsky. I like boobs.
I like boobs, thank you very much.
Yeah.
And I've seen Will's real face, and he is literally a cat.
Moonshock.
Seen Will's real face, and okay, whatever. He's a cat.
Alright. Terry Dimatis.
I've seen boobs, and like Jack, I enjoy the sight of them.
But have you seen cat's boobs?
No.
And this week's special guest, Willett Forge.
I'm Will from across the hall, and this year I'm thankful for filing cabinets.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Terry
how
got
you-
it.
I would like to make a quick correction. My first girlfriend, her nickname was Cat, so technically, yes, I have seen cat's boobs.
Nice. You got a picture?
No.
Oh.
What the fuck are you doing here?
Yeah.
Get the fuck out. No, I'm just...
Picture it didn't happen. Alright.
I've been told that's the rule.
Well, speaking of Terry.
Now we have boobs in the chat. Boobs in the chat, everyone.
Specifically Sun's boobs.
Hey,
Well, Moonshock doesn't have any. Well, he's only got one.
Yeah, he's shy of a pair.
yes, yes.
Just type in like half of that with the two parentheses and the one period. That's Moon.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say, speaking of Terry, our first article. Dear Conservative America, Australia's COVID-19 response is not tyrannical.
Is this Claire Lemon?
It's someone named
Not Claire Lemon.
someone named Christopher Kelly.
Oh, I will find this
Because,
bastard.
Claire,
Find out if
Claire
they're,
Lemon has been making
find
a
out if
big
they're
thing.
American.
I like how these people seem to think that ideas and principles just change their meaning completely as soon as you cross a lake.
Oh, well, here's his very first description. Says, "Your friendly gay man setting the record straight."
Oh God.
Uh,
But no, there's a woman called Claire Lemon, or I don't know how to pronounce this her real name, but she's Claire Lemon on Twitter, and she's been like hyping up the COVID camps as like luxury resorts, and like everyone is there voluntarily and they love it there, and like,
Breadlines are a good thing.
yeah, basically.
Concentration camps are a good thing because at the end you get concentrated.
Lehman. Okay, so Cynic says it's Claire Lehman is her real name.
I'm curious.
I-
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Is this person Australian at all, or is this just some bitch from America? Some bitch made Twitter checkmark wannabe.
I
That was
think
where
they,
my mind went too, Jack, because it was like seems
think they
pretty
mentioned
tyrannical to
being-
me.
I think they mentioned being Australian.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
You'd think Hitler
They're okay with it. Sorry.
You'd think Hitler has reincarnated in the land down under.
Why you people like you call people Hitler every fucking day, and then if someone actually makes a legitimate comparison to tyrannical dictatorship, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, where did the reference to Hitler come from? Was it Hitler? I've never heard of him.
I think that's what Viva Fry would call hashtag confession, or confession by projection, or confession through projection. Call everyone else Hitler because you're the Nazi.
It has come to my attention that many conservatives in America are worried that Australia has gone full-on tyrannical in its attempt to combat COVID-19.
Yeah,
According
you
to-
know how we got that idea? We talked to Australians. We talked to Australians, and they told us. They told us how tyrannical and awful it is, and they said they don't like it. So nobody needed your bitch-made opinion. Your half-baked bullshit.
Hey Terry,
People
can you
managed to come to their own fucking conclusion without your stupid ad hoc bullshit attempt to cover for a bunch of pieces of shit who are running that country into the ground.
Terry, can you confirm that the measures in Australia are full-on tyrannical?
Oh, we love dear leader and the impositions he puts up on us.
Thank you.
According to Junkie, because that's a well-known publication, far-right conservatives within America are blasting Twitter with the hashtag Australia has fallen, claiming that Australia needs saving due to our COVID-19 restrictions.
Far right. I'm curious, what do they think a regular right person looks like?
There is no regular right wing. It's all far right.
I'm also curious as to how many times this dipshit's been jabbed too.
It's left, then center left, then far right, because you can't have centrists either.
No, centrists are worse because they're covert far right people.
It's left, useful idiots, and far right.
Yeah.
So, Mooney, considering what you've already disclosed about this individual, I'd say they've been jabbed a lot.
Oh, yeah. Not necessarily in the arm, though.
And I'm here to tell you. And I'm here to tell you that is far from the case.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, on the east coast of Australia, we're more annoyed with La Nina killing our summer holiday plans.
That is incorrect, because I live on the east coast.
At this rate, we're in for a long, wet season thanks to a weather pattern we share with South America. It's storming right now as I write this.
Okay, I will say it has been raining a lot. That is annoying, but no, it's not comparable to the COVID restrictions.
Yeah, like but bad weather, that's worse than any
But Terry, are you published? If you're not published like this person is, then your opinion means nothing.
Well, I'm published on Twitter.
Obviously, I think that the most offensive thing the Australian government did was wearing that tan suit.
And killing the dogs.
Yeah. Tomato. But COVID restrictions? Well, we're pretty much open in most states. In my home state of New South Wales, you can pretty much do anything you like if you're fully vaccinated. And that's not...
if you're fully vaccinated.
Yeah.
In Germany, you could do pretty much anything if you're not Jewish.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not funny.
And that's 92.8% of the population of New South Wales over 12 years of age.
Where do these people get off just totally ignoring the fact that we have invented a classist system in the world today? We just invented it out of thin air for no fucking reason. And these people who are all about like class warfare are totally fine with it.
Well, not just that. They're the ones who claim to love minorities. Well, unvaccinated are very clearly a minority if they're only, 7.2% of the New South Wales population.
Of course, this is provided you wear a mask in some settings and sign into every venue via QR code.
Freedom. What says freedom more than signing in with a QR code everywhere you go?
Yeah, this doesn't sound tyrannical at all.
Pete in chat sums it up nicely. Just obey the mandates and you are free.
Yeah.
And even if you're not fully vaccinated, you can still do all the necessary things like groceries, visiting the pharmacy, filling up your car, and going on a hike in one of our glorious national parks. This sounds like actual communist propaganda.
Yeah, it really does.
That's because it is.
It really does.
No, it sounds like it because that's literally what this is.
Well, they hired consultants from Russia and China to fight stigmas from COVID. So, I mean, of course it can be communist propaganda.
This is subject to change as we near closer to our vaccine targets. In fact, wait, you're at 92% and you're not at your target?
No, but not in the way, Cynic was saying that in Queensland, they don't have vaccine passports at the moment, but they're going to introduce them once they hit a certain vaccine threshold. So, once 90% or whatever are vaccinated, then they'll bring in the vaccine passport. So like that seems like a rather strong incentive for no one to get vaccinated, so they don't bring this stupid bullshit in.
Yeah.
Let's see. Um, in fact, the state of New South Wales has a plan to properly open up the state for the unvaccinated on December 15th, 2021. Speaking of
I'll believe
vaccine,
it when I see it. It's the 11th, and I'm still skeptical that they're actually going to open in 4 days.
come on,
Well, they're
Terry, has
probably
your
working
government
on.
has your government ever gone back on a promise?
Oh no, never.
They're probably working on World Health Organization time, which means anytime between that date and 2024.
Yeah.
I'm just waiting like 10 minutes to midnight, and they're like, well, we were going to open everything up, but then we decided we better take 2 more weeks to stop the spread.
Yep,
But
got to
oh,
And
flatten
then
that
everyone
curve.
goes, no!
but oh look, another variant.
Another variant that had popped up conveniently, and nobody really knows if it does anything at all.
Well, at the
Well,
rate it's
you know
going,
exactly what it does. It's a cold. It's
yeah.
a mild cold.
At the rate it's
Yeah.
going, we're gonna have like a Delta Kappa Gamma fucking variant here, and it'll be like
We're already
2028.
We're already past Delta. If we're
No,
at
I'm talking about
Omicron,
they're
we're
gonna
already
be.
past Delta,
No,
Kappa,
they're
and
they're
Gamma.
doubling up on their Greek letters. It's gonna be like D D D D D, and then they keep going.
Oh, so we're
So-
gonna hit Omega, and then there's gonna be like the Alpha variant, and then the Alpha
Yes.
Beta variant, and
Yes.
everything.
Yes.
Great.
It's like iPhones.
Yeah,
There's a new one out every year. Yeah.
I heard something pretty good on the radio the other day. Someone said that the symptoms of Omicron are feeling sore and tired. And then he said, it sounds like the symptoms of a hard day's work, which is exactly what liberals are afraid of, which explains why they're so against this particular disease.
No, but what I saw is that the effects of Omicron rather suspiciously match the side effects of the vaccine, like the heart problems. Like,
Hmm.
one of the effects of Omicron is like myocarditis. Is like, really?
Terry's
Jesus
getting
Christ.
tinfoily.
Christ.
Speaking of vaccines,
Terry loves the government.
yep.
Hey, Camel, forget Omega Mu. We've got to wait for Lambda Gamma Beta.
Or lambda.
Hey, give me just 1 second. Thank you, Evolved Potato, who says, I put a story on the hashtag about the police down here badly assaulted and lied on arrest forms of people whose only crime was not wearing a mask. They only got caught because of CCTV cameras.
Sounds like they got what was coming to them.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Terry, imagine when they hit the Kappa variant.
That's racist. Oh, wait.
I literally
following
have
the Greek
KKK
alphabet.
in my veins. Speaking of vaccines, it's not mandatory to have a vaccine here unless you want to work in high-risk industries like healthcare, nursing homes, and schools. So the vaccine mandates you're hearing about are not actually mandates in the proper sense of the word.
Oh, I see. So they're now afraid of the word mandate, so they're gonna take the obvious. They're gonna try and gaslight us. No, these aren't mandates at all. They're just we tell you to do thingies, and
They're
you
requirements.
should just do them. You should do them because we asked you to politely, and if you don't do them, we're just going to politely put you in prison.
No, I've actually seen someone say they're not mandates; they're requirements, because mandate has a negative connotation.
So does requirement.
It's the same bullshit propaganda all over again. Every time somebody pins a word to them that they don't like, regardless of how true it is, they immediately try to disassociate from it and make up all this sort of bullshit, like what do you call it? Like semantic bullshit to try and distance themselves from actually having to face real criticism.
Johnny Hellcat. If they don't work, they're woman dates.
Yeah.
Womp womp.
Oh.
Last
Say,
I
Jack,
checked.
They're
Last I
not
checked.
mandates. They're very, very strong suggestions with absolute penalties for not following them. That's all.
And if they change from mandates to woman dates, they're called tran dates.
Oh, God.
Last I checked, those who lost their job because they didn't get vaccinated are still allowed to not be vaccinated.
They're not allowed to work, but they are allowed to not be vaccinated.
They're not allowed to do 90% of the things that a vaccinated citizen is allowed to do. But they can be not vaccinated.
It's always been their...
No, that is literally why my mother got vaccinated. Is she was not allowed to do anything that she wanted to do, like just go to the shopping center without it. And she's like, under protest, I have to, otherwise I can't live my life. So it's like, you know,
it's her choice. Yeah, it's not a mandate.
Yeah.
It's always been their choice, but like all choices, there are risks. Just ask Australian Senator Jackie Lambie, who blasted another Australian senator over their introducing an anti-vaccination bill. And
I would
I'm
just
not
like
playing the
to-
video.
I would just like to point out, what is the purpose of this mandate anyway? Because last I checked, they were telling you have to get the vaccination so that you don't pose a risk to other people. Okay, well, does the vaccination stop the risk of spreading? No, it doesn't do that at all. Okay, well, what's the point of it then? You should just do it.
Do you really need government corruption explained to you, Jack?
He lives in America. He definitely doesn't.
Yeah,
Like, the whole point is that the pharmaceutical industry is nudge, nudge, wink, wink. Oh, how did this money fall into your lap? Suggesting things to the government. And, oh, look, they just happen to make decisions that greatly benefit the pharmaceutical industry.
Yeah, I was seeing a Twitter article about like a guy within the span of one day saying, I think that the third booster shot should be enough. And then like the very next day he is like, in talks to introduce a fourth booster shot.
Yeah.
And wear a mask on your arm where you got the booster shot.
Yeah, it's all corrupt government money, and the citizenry is paying for it, and they're just the vast majority of people are just going to blindly accept it because that's what people do when they've been trained properly.
Mm-hmm.
Well, did you hear what that New Zealand chick said? She's just like, "Oh, there's never going to be an end to the this." Like, what?
That's the intention at this point.
No, but it was really funny because someone just straight up asked, so do you think you're creating two classes of people? He's like, yeah, that's exactly what it is. Like, cheerfully. Like, yes, you understand. Yes, that's exactly what we're doing.
That's never ended poorly in history.
Not once.
Damn,
never before. Sorry.
Damn, that's a great speech. And yes, all states do require you to isolate for up to 14 days if you're an incoming traveler. But this is to prevent the spread of COVID-19 within the local community.
Oh, shit.
And contrary to some opinions, it's not full lockdown inside of a jail cell. Most of the time it's in hotels or government facilities.
Government facility.
Isn't a jail cell a government facility?
Uh-huh.
So it's a concentration camp.
You know, Frosted, as a matter of fact, it is.
Where you can do whatever you want in your own suite, and even visit the outside world.
Like in jail.
No. Have you guys seen the video where the chick was in the vaccine, the COVID camp, and like she wasn't allowed to go to the other side of the balcony because there's like a white line saying like,
oh, yep.
This is your area that you're allowed in.
Like the coop is gonna give a fuck about a white line on the floor. Like, oh, wait, there's a white line on. Okay, I guess I can't be transmitted this way.
Yeah,
sorry.
She was only allowed her little section, or like her room, and she could walk out to the laundry to do like wash her clothes. That was her freedoms.
Yeah, what did they say if she did in fact cross the line? What were they going to do to her?
Give her a fine.
Yeah, was it like $5,000 or something ludicrous like that?
You
About
know,
that.
something about these stupid fines just makes me ask the question of if you get busted for not paying your fines and you keep not paying your fines, what are they going to do to you? Are they going to kill you for not paying your fines?
Put you in
They
jail.
put you,
Yeah,
put you
and
in
even then,
debtor's prison.
A
so
government
basically, you're
facility.
never going to get your stupid fucking fake ass money that you're charging for some stupid fake ass bullshit here.
No, well,
This
they're
stupid.
hoping people will pay the fine, and if they don't, they are quite happy to throw you in jail.
Well,
Yeah.
I guess all they need now is another supermax in Australia, right? Because Australia, the continent itself, is nothing but one gigantic prison to begin with. But oh well, let's go ahead and compound that even more.
Well, you know, the first place my mind went with the whole got the white line and don't you dare cross it and everything is the kids fighting in the back seat. Mom, Jenny won't keep her hands to herself. You're on my side of the seat.
Oh, it reminds
No,
me
I'm,
of
I'm
it reminds me of Red Dragon, the Hannibal Lecter movie, where like he gets exercise and he's like in a gymnasium, but he has like a chain attached to him. And he's not allowed to cross the line.
Oh yeah.
No, see, I think of sitcoms like I Love Lucy, where it's like they put a line down the middle of the house. It's like, you stay on your side, I stay on mine.
Yeah,
yeah, that's a classic.
every
No,
sitcom ever.
my immediate thought went to the opening in Airplane. The white zone is for loading and
Loading and
unloading of
unloading.
passengers.
Don't start up with your white zone shit again.
That's okay. My second thought was, don't make me turn this continent around. I will, you know.
So Jack Gunsky wants a white zone. Ethno-nationalist.
Jack,
I see.
I know what this is really about. You want me to have an abortion?
It's really the only it's really the only safe way.
I don't see how that is comparable to Nazi death camps.
Wow.
Only
That
because
was-
they
that
haven't
got-
started
Yeah.
killing people yet.
There's
Or have
barely
they?
any Jews in our camps.
Yeah, I'm
Cuomo
sorry,
did.
but if you are in a building under threat, if you leave of going to a prison, then you're basically in a prison already. There's no basically. You are in a prison. If you leave and you go to prison, you're in a prison.
Yeah, just
That's
low
all there
security
is.
to high security.
Exactly.
Yes, our restrictions are a lot harsher than some other countries, but it is far from tyrannical. I mean,
Yeah, bullshit.
compared to Nazi death camps, we're trying to save as many people as we can.
Well, that's how the Nazis felt about it too.
And that
one
includes the
step away.
The Nazis thought the concentration camps were a great idea.
Yeah.
Save the economy.
and that includes the unvaccinated. Hence why they are under stricter rules than the fully vaccinated.
Okay,
Oh, yeah.
first of all, you never see the amount of cases in unvaccinated that you do with these idiots that have gotten multiple jabs. You know, and this is another one of those cases where they're seeing the vast majority of people who have had the Delta or this Omicron are the people that have already been jabbed.
Well,
I
that's
refuse
because
to say the
majority
V
of
word.
people
It's
have
like-
been vaccinated.
This is not in any way, shape, or form a vaccine, so I will never ever
Fair.
say that fucking word. So
If there's one thing you can count on, it's the government to be benevolent.
oh yeah, absolutely. Because
Yeah. The thing is that if you're going to impose restrictions, it is only on a person's life. It is only fair that you come up with some concrete methods for doing so. Things like what is the logical end game? What sort of cases per day are we supposed to see before we can start living our lives normally again? And after
Zero.
that point, things will end. But the thing is,
Zero.
you will never see that sort of logical, reasoned out response from an entity that would impose it in the first place.
No.
Yeah.
They have given a number. The number is 0, and the fact that will never actually happen in real life, well, that's not their fault.
Once no one in Australia is sick, then we can open back up.
Yeah, exactly.
This whole thing is nothing but one gigantic fucking pipe dream. This is like trying to end the cold. You will never, ever, ever defeat the cold in any way, shape, or form because it has an evolutionary process. It evolves and mutates all the fucking time, just like this fucking virus. You will never ever have 0 cases in anywhere, no matter where you go. You can go to the
That-
furthest reaches of
Not with an
fucking Africa
attitude
or
like that, you're
Antarctica.
not.
Hey, you
That
shut up.
reminds me. This, you know what that reminds me of? That reminds me of that episode of Frasier where his nemesis hangs a huge American flag in front of his window, blocking his
Yep.
view, and
Cam
so he
Winston.
immediately goes, yeah, Cam Winston, and he goes to like the town, the building meeting in order to ask for it to be removed, and he's like, "When should it be removed?" And Cam Winston says, "How about when there's world peace?"
Yeah, and then Frasier's like, "That'll never happen," and everybody boos him.
Everyone boos him.
Well, and then another thing that just gets my goat with this whole fucking COVID thing is that with these latest variants, I mean, even with your Delta or whatever the fuck it is, cases do not equal deaths. You are not having a 1-for-1. This is not the ratio of cases or deaths to cases. We're doing the highest amount of cases ever.
That doesn't matter because even if there's 0 deaths, even if there were 0 deaths, if there are cases, they'll be like, yes, but I know someone who lost their sense of smell from getting this illness. So now you have to stay in because somebody loses their sense of smell.
That's, oh my god.
It will get infinitely more stupid before anyone is willing, before the most irrational people who are running the whole thing, by the way, before they are actually thrown out of power. Because that's what it's going to take. It's going to take these people getting thrown out of power either by vote or by force.
Only problem is these people have got militaries behind them supporting them.
Yeah, and
which is why you have. Sorry, I wasn't going to say that.
Yeah.
This is why we have only seen 2,050 deaths due to COVID-19 across the country since its inception.
Oh my god!
If
Wow,
how does that-
2050,
how does
huh? Go ahead, Jack.
How does that compare to other countries? How does that compare per capita to other places? Is there any actual noticeable difference in the response? How does that compare? How do cities compare to other cities in the world? You
Also
don't have any
consider
of this
that Australia
information.
is an island continent.
When you
which
throw out a
means
number,
absolute control of your borders isn't a problem.
how does that compare to the amount of deaths that the total inactivity in the country as a result of lockdowns has caused heart disease? Because I'm willing to bet you that it's caused an awful lot of heart disease within the last 2 years.
No,
How-
that's that pandemic stress disorder thingy that they're trying to push.
If you're gonna throw out numbers like this, you have to have evidence and context. You have to have lots of it too. You can't just throw out one number like 2050 or whatever bullshit number they threw out and expect us to be like, oh, that's terrible. This is the worst thing. Obviously, all of our freedoms need to be shut down. These things all lie within a bell curve.
No, they're saying that 2050 is a good number, which is why it's good that they've had their strict rules.
Mm.
If we were
It
at
would
the
have been
same,
2051 if they hadn't locked us down.
and that one
Oh, come
person
on,
was
Terry. It's been
already
2
pretty
years.
sick.
It'll be at least 2050.
If we were at the same rates as the USA, 0.003%, we'd be at 81,000 people dead. I like how
How do
they
you know?
say,
You have no idea.
I like
you
how
can't
they
make
say
that kind of comparison either. You just can't.
0.003% is supposed to be
Population
high.
density for being just one reason why.
Yeah. I mean,
can't just-
ooh.
You
Go ahead.
can't possibly know a number like that. You can't say, "Oh, well, if this didn't happen, then it would have been this
No.
many deaths."
Jack, what this person is saying is if Australia had the same fatality rate as the United States, so if the same percentage of people that died of it in America, if that same percentage of Australians who got sick had died, that's the number we'd get. So
Yes. but they're
Notice what they
different
just reported as the fatality rate in the U.S.
yeah,
Yeah.
0.003%.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's supposed to be like the nightmare scenario.
Yeah, and if you expand the decimals to account for the percentage, that's like 0.00003.
Yeah.
So that's like 10,000ths of a percentage of a population.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well, this
it's
is
a
what
minuscule amount.
This is what happens when your entire ideology has zero founding in any sort of scientific thought. You just throw the word science out there like it means something on its own, like it means something in a vacuum. No, these people don't understand. These people don't understand that statistics are relative things, and that just throwing out a number with zero context is not very meaningful.
Not to
Well,
mention the
Jack,
fact that
science
these
is very important. That's how she
yes,
blinded me.
but these deaths, well, these deaths are not all attributable to COVID, though. You know damn well that these are oh, they just
Oh, yeah.
happened to have it, or hey, look, this person
He-
was in a motorcycle crash, but he had COVID in him, so he died of COVID, obviously.
I bet at least half of them were caused by spiders.
I mean, my brother has COVID right now, and he says he does not feel any different to being fully healthy.
Yeah, my I've had at least half a dozen or more relatives that have had it, and every single one of them said it's nothing really more than a bad cold.
No.
Yeah.
My brother's saying not even that. He feels
Really?
completely healthy. There is zero symptoms. He
Yeah,
is completely fine.
Yeah, I've had at least 2 people I know get COVID, both of which I think were vaccinated at the time, and
My
like,
brother's vaccinated. Yeah.
and they're like young, healthy guys, so I'm not
Mhm.
worried at all when I find out. I'm like, oh, that sucks. I hope you get better soon. Yeah.
Well, and
His co-worker tested positive, and because he was like working with the guy, he had to get tested as well. So he came up positive. He's like zero symptoms, feels absolutely fine, but still can't work for 14 days, and as a result, can't attend 2 weddings and a christening because he's quote unquote infectious.
Yeah.
and that's also another thing about this new variant here. There has been 0 deaths, and they're also saying that the symptoms of this one are very, very, very light. Sure, it's more highly virulent. Who cares if you've got light symptoms? You want it to be spread. You
Well,
want
that's-
everyone to get it so it'll kill itself out or
like
burn
that
itself out.
chickenpox.
Diet
Yes,
COVID.
exactly.
That's
Yeah.
the common. That is the common mutation pathway for a virus.
Yes.
It goes more virulent and less lethal. The reason is viruses that burn themselves out too fast through the population or kill the host too fast, they don't make it.
Yeah, that's the whole
Well,
point.
that's actually the game Plague Incorporated. That's like
I
one
love
of the
it.
things you have to be mindful of is if you make your disease too fatal, then it'll kill all its hosts before it can spread anywhere. So
Yes.
Yeah,
you
no
actually
matter how
have to
contagious you
take that
make
into
it.
consideration.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also you always start in India in that game.
India's no, India is good. Saudi Arabia is the other really good one.
Yeah,
Because
Saudi
that
Arabia
has-
is really, really
'cause-
good,
'cause it-
and Greenland's impossible to.
Oh,
'Cause
I always
India
started
is-
in Madagascar, and I always lost when I started Madagascar. But whenever I started in like Mexico, I always won.
Yeah, because India is poor. They have a huge population, an airport, and a
Seaport.
seaport.
Yeah.
And plus they're like hot and wet, so it's good for like insects and stuff.
Mhm.
I played.
Saudi Arabia is good because it's got airports and seaports that go to literally the entire world. That's the reason that Saudi Arabia is such a
Plus
good
all
start.
the
You have to
land
evolve
borders
it
through
for
the Middle
heat,
East.
though. You have to evolve it for the heat, though, if you start there, because
Oh, that's
course.
fine.
You got to do that if you start in India too.
Yeah, that's also true.
I played that game once. I started in Japan. That was a big mistake.
Yeah.
I basically put it in the most orderly, organized country in the world, and
If anyone catches
killed
it, they
everyone
just
in Japan.
if anyone catches it, they just commit seppuku.
Yeah,
Okay, look.
it killed everyone in the country, though. For the record.
Well, good on you.
Yeah, that's the best accomplishment I can think of is wiping out Japan. Anyway,
Oh.
Okay,
China's
look.
asshole.
Okay, look. I agree that COVID-19 restrictions are a pain. I hate having to check in with a QR code at every place I visit and show my vaccine certificate. I hate
Racist,
that
please.
I hate that I can't easily travel interstate without the inconvenience of quarantining, and I am absolutely annoyed at having to wear masks when working in hospitality. But when it's for the health of the entire Australian population, I can't complain too much. Now, all I'm hoping for is a nice sunny day where I could go to the beach.
Oh,
You
well, don't
know
worry,
that this
you can do
person
that.
complains about all of that stuff after the end of a work day.
The thing that sticks out to me is like in the article they're saying they're vaccinated, but they still have to wear a mask everywhere. They still have to do the QR code. So what's the benefit of the vaccine if you still have all these like heavy restrictions on you? It's like,
It's
You
to
get to go to the
be
beach.
safe, Terry, and you can go to the beach.
I like that it says that this is a 3-minute read, and we're 36 minutes into it.
Well,
Yeah.
if you want to go to the beach, let me introduce you to my friend, the blue-ringed octopus.
Or cone snails.
Or box jellyfish. All right. Well, with the end of the first article comes the first game, and that would be Sad Libs.
Best game ever.
This is a game where I take 4 headlines from Medium, take out one word, and you guys fill in that one word Mad Libs style, and then the chat votes on which one is
Shit,
best.
I don't know what the fuck that is.
It's basically just a verb ending in ed, except like transitive, like you do something to something,
A verb ending in erectile dysfunction.
like pushed, or
You
Pooped.
just mistook Jack for Jack. The other one's got like an English degree or something like that.
Hey, I'm not Jack. I like boobs, damn it.
Well, who doesn't?
I gotta find like the most complicated word for a word for Jack now.
yeah.
Well,
Just do
Frosted,
pooped.
the only way to make that better is if there was a single multi-syllable word giving the same meaning that's even more obscure.
All right, so you're going with pooped.
Yes.
All right, Moon, I need a living thing. Shut up, Jack.
Mute his microphone so he can't do it.
I'm thinking. How about
It's a living thing.
I told you to mute him.
See, that's why you can never disguise your identity, Jack. Because I would just say living thing, and you would give yourself away.
how about a prostitute? It is a living thing.
Mm.
Well, it depends on how you handle it. All right.
Oh.
Terry, you also have a living thing.
It's a living thing.
I say Frosted, how you handle it. It is for Moonshock and not Jack.
Continuing the theme of the article, I will go with idiot.
All right. And Willet, I need an adjective.
Let's. Thanks a lot. I had a thought before, and then it just totally flew my mind. Since I got the
Adjective
Panthers,
is difficult, isn't it?
Wait. What, Jack? Aren't you saying it's an adjective?
since I've got the Lat Panthers right here, let's go with furry.
All right. Furry as an adjective, not a noun.
Right.
All right.
Unless that first one says Joe Biden pooped out his latest anal suppository, I'm gonna be very disappointed.
All right. Well,
How about
Jax
Joe
is
Biden pooped out his latest closing?
Jax is A racist verbally pooped me and no one cared.
Verbally pooped you, huh?
Excuse me while I start. I'll start a slow clap for that racist. I don't care if they're otherwise scum.
All right, and Moonshock. Is a woman worth anything without a prostitute?
It's a shame it didn't say pimp.
Yeah, that is true.
All right, and Terry's. To experience true sex, I had to orgasm with an idiot on my husband's bed.
What?
The fuck?
Well, I mean, she just said that she was in her husband's bed, so I mean,
Oh, something like
Orgasm
that.
with an idiot. Huh? It's like, hey, dumb shit, get over here and help me have an orgasm. And you'll be sitting on my husband's bed while I do it.
All right, and Willits is. Why do older white women and furry white girls keep flirting with me?
Furry white girls, huh?
All right, and I'll start the
Well
poll for the
done.
chat. Instructions on how to vote are up on the screen.
Okay, I gotta ask, what the hell is with all these people that keep spamming this VAR text shit in the chat?
They're
That-
just bots.
Yeah.
They're just spam bots.
I think you need to tell Son to take a few breaths. I could hear her in the background for most of that.
Wow, Terry, you got Son's vote.
Cool.
Uh-oh, is the poll not working?
Is that what she said?
We'll see.
Yeah.
Oh,
It doesn't look like it's working.
All right.
Well, we're gonna have to count.
Let's see. Plan B, I'll make a poll through YouTube.
Jack, why aren't you taking this opportunity to spam forth your?
I'm
your-
not Jack. I like boobs. Damn it.
Who doesn't?
You keep saying that too.
Hey, as long as he keeps making the declaration, I'm gonna agree.
Who is in the background laughing?
That's my buddy.
Okay.
Whose house I am in at the moment.
Ah.
Oh, I think I need to vote in this poll that just appeared.
Ooh, I can vote.
Oh, I'm allowed to vote. You bet your ass I'm gonna vote for me.
Wow, I voted on myself and it said 0%. You sons of bitches. Hey, look at that!
Wow,
I got a vote.
It didn't even count for you. It didn't even count you for yourself.
I know, that was pretty sad, isn't it? Well, Terry's idiot is passing so far.
Yeah, I'd say if I'm voting on Terry on this one.
Everyone
It is
report
pretty
the
good.
poll.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, I don't
that's
have a
a
set.
Terry one.
I don't have a set timer for this one, but I think it's safe to say that Terry won.
Woohoo!
Nice.
This means that you're not allowed to win the gender one then later.
All right. Now, well, congrats to Terry. And now our next
Good.
article is actually a couple years old, and
Oh.
Oh.
you'll be able to tell by the title, but it's entertaining nonetheless.
Does it at least mention witchy woo woo?
Now, the racist Covington Catholic students first hated women.
Oh, nice.
Mm.
Can I speculate? They hated women because they were in DC to oppose abortion and women's reproductive rights. Ergo evil. Ergo nobody's surprised that they turned out to be racist, hateful Nazis too.
No. It's just his name is Big Sand Man, not Sand Person. So that's already.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well,
Did
additional
you
already
Sandman,
broke
not
the
Sand
Trudeau
person or
rule.
Sand Woman.
Well, if it's a sand person, aren't they from Tatooine?
Quite
Or those-
possible. But But then that might be racist because not American.
All right, so this is from January of 2019.
Oh,
Today-
before the coup was officially a thing.
Today, video surfaced of a mob of white male high school students taunting and harassing an indigenous elder veteran.
Lie.
He smirked at them.
Yes.
Nathan
With
With a
Phillips.
Phillips.
punchable face.
Nathan Phillips was leading a group in an annual drum march to honor deceased indigenous veterans when the mob approached the group.
Oh my god.
Lie.
Fucking one-sided much?
The mob of students had traveled from Covington Catholic High School, located in a suburb outside Cincinnati, to Washington, D.C., for a march to protest women's rights to control their own bodies.
Called it.
Oh. My
see-
body, my choice.
You see, before the disgusting display of racism, these students proudly marched to display their hatred of women and desire to dominate us.
I like how they never bring up the fact that women attend these marches. What is their explanation for that?
Internalized misogyny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
That-
what
that's-
would be considered externalized misogyny?
I mean, a man does it.
And even when male politicians, try to reduce abortion or something, you know that women voted for those guys, right? Just
Mhm.
because the politician's not a woman doesn't mean they don't represent women.
It
Well,
doesn't
I
matter.
think-
It
think
doesn't
if you-
matter. Some women don't like it, therefore all women don't like it. And if you do like it, then you're not a woman.
Yes.
Yeah.
I forget who pointed it out. It might have been Monkey, but it was men who voted for Roe versus Wade to be the law that it is in the first place. So
Yeah, there were no
The-
women on the
the-
Supreme Court at the time.
yeah, so do you throw out Roe v. Wade just because it was all men who voted for it?
Yes.
Sounds like a plan when you have an all-male court flexing legal authority that they don't have to create a law into
Yeah,
the
yeah.
Constitution that doesn't exist there, making rules over women's bodies. Hey, no woman had a say in it. I'd be for
true.
for repealing it for that reason.
The media and much of the general public tends to characterize these anti-women marches as pro-life Christian movements. They are painted as something that is legitimate and respectable, even compassionate. But this could not be further from the truth. They are not pro-life, they are anti-women.
So
And-
this really has nothing to do with the Covington kids at all, does it? This is just there was an
Abortion.
abortion rally, and I don't like that because everyone who is in favor of saving a baby's life is evil.
Okay.
Yep.
I'm going to say I'm going to go a little bit of self-revelation and detail here. I attended a pro-life protest / rally thing.
Can I take a guess here and say that they were the nicest people you've ever met in your life?
Well, yeah, they were.
Yeah.
And it's been a while, but if memory serves, at least 50 to 65% of the people participating were female.
Wow.
Some of them
That's not
pregnant,
true.
That is a hate
Yeah.
factor.
Yeah.
and some of them having just given birth with the babies in the strollers there.
That is inconvenient to the narrative, so you'll kindly stop saying such things.
Yes,
Yeah, yeah,
and Pete,
yeah.
Sorry, I'll shut up now.
Pete makes a good
It-
point when he says, if men oppress women so much, why do we allow the view to be a thing? Just
Yeah.
saying.
Well, Willie,
Isn't it? Oh, sorry.
Willie, you're about to find out that those people were dangerous.
Yeah.
Oh, the
Isn't
women were?
it-
Well, all women are dangerous, so.
And anti-women groups inevitably turn out to also be white supremacy groups.
Dun, dun,
Nice.
dun.
These smirking, mocking teenage boys are not compassionate lovers of life. They were in D.C. because they want women to have a lower status than men in our culture.
What?
And that starts by creating laws that apply only to women and not to men.
Hey, if
I'm
men
sorry,
get
but
pregnant, if men get pregnant, they can't kill the kid either. Okay.
Where the fuck
Exactly.
is this person
You
getting
know,
this information?
I'm going to point out something that Nick Ricada pointed out actually within the past week and a half. That what they want in abortion permission, as far as prohibition from any restrictions on everything, it creates specifically for women a bodily autonomy and freedom carve out that does not exist for anyone else in the nation for any other part of their identity or medical structure, anything, any other right, any other medical condition or anything. Nobody has this level of unregulated, unrestricted autonomy
Stop.
except for a pregnant woman who wants to kill the fetus.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Can
if
you
you're
can you provide an example?
well, I mean, if you're a guy and there's an
You
accidental
can't-
pregnancy, you're screwed.
You cannot buy Sudafed under less regulation than they want for abortion. It's more restricted to buy what is over the counter allergy medicine.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
'cause
mean,
you can make it. You
invasive
can make it
medical
meth.
procedure.
You can make meth out of it, man.
with abortion, they have more rights than men do.
Yeah. They have more rights than anybody.
And it's probably goes without saying that the court system in America heavily favors women over men. So this
No way.
nonsense, this nonsense that somehow women are getting some sort of bad deal. Pardon me, but no, women have gotten a very excellent deal, a deal that men kind of wish they had. Especially if you're a divorced parent.
I think Chappelle got it right. If you get the right to kill it, we get the right to abandon it.
Yeah.
I
mean, that
think
would be
deadbeat
equal.
dads should be strung up, and I agree with that.
Yeah.
That's true.
When they encountered the group of indigenous people, they chanted, "Build the wall." They chanted a slogan about a monument to white supremacy, about keeping people out who are looking to survive. They are not pro-life. They chanted at people who are some of the few survivors of a mass genocide. They are not.
Pardon me, but the valor stealing Indian guy didn't survive jack shit.
Well, look, obviously he did. He was still alive.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he survived a child smirking at him. Smirk crime, as they call it.
Smirk
Well, I mean,
lives matter.
He survived the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, the 2000s, the 2010s.
Yeah.
Most of the 2010s, only to be slain by a smirking teenager's smile in 2019.
You slay.
I love how when this first came out and everybody was using that SpongeBob meme, he's just standing there menacingly.
That Indian guy is such a survivor that Eye of the Tiger plays wherever he goes.
They are not pro-life. They chanted at all right, I did that part. They are
Veterans
not
who are
pro-life. They chanted at veterans who were honoring deceased veterans. They are not pro-life. They are the next generation of a white supremacist patriarchy, seeking to keep their power in our culture.
They always said that Pepsi was the choice of a new generation, so maybe.
Nick Sandman needs to get a black girlfriend and then sue this author for slander.
No, he needs to get a black indigenous girlfriend, like a mix.
Well, no, it'd be liable because it's printed. Sorry.
It's also funny. It's also funny that they bring race into this, considering that the most black people that get killed are through abortions in America.
But those aren't people.
You can thank
Because
Mr.
why?
Bill Gates for that one. Well, I mean,
To
you
be-
can.
To be clear, the only correct stance on abortion is, I trust women to make the best decisions for their own bodies, free from government interference.
Okay. What if the father doesn't want it, though?
No, I just had a realization.
What if the baby
that,
doesn't want it?
Yeah.
no,
Because no woman in all of recorded history has ever made a bad choice.
No.
No, but the pro-choice crowd and the white supremacists actually agree on something. Black fetuses aren't human. They believe it for different reasons,
Yeah.
but they agree that they're not people.
Back to
If-
the woke and the racist are in the same boat.
Yeah,
If you believe there are circumstances in which a woman should remain pregnant against her will, then you believe that women are not equal to men under the law. You are anti-women. If you join a
isn't this
club
kind of
that's...
transphobic? Men can get pregnant too.
Yeah. Well, this was 2019, so this was more acceptable at the time.
Well,
But
actually,
no,
I'm
context is not a relevant factor. It doesn't matter what it was like in 2019. We're reading it in 2021. It's transphobic. This bitch needs to be cancelled.
fair point, Terry. And
It's
I'm
true.
gonna point out that I'm not pro-life because I'm anti-woman. I'm pro-life because I'm pro-woman. And since more than 50% of those aborted are girls, especially if you throw in internationally, with it being the gross majority in China, to the point that they've got a gender imbalance in their population that they currently can't close, then I would say being quote unquote pro-choice is anti-abortion because it disproportionately kills women.
There you go.
If you join a club that seeks to force women to remain pregnant, then you are in a fascist hate group.
Oh.
Cool.
The trouble is that our culture fails to characterize anti-women movements as hate groups, and then expresses shock and surprise when these anti-women hate groups also turn out to be racist as well. When a movement is just against women's rights to be full citizens under the law with complete bodily autonomy, as men have, it is perfectly fine with most in our culture. Women across...
Okay, go ahead, Jack.
I do just want to point one thing out. It's so funny that these people talk about dehumanizing all the time, about everything, yet their entire argument in favor of abortion falls apart unless they dehumanize the baby.
But also, the article just said that men have complete bodily autonomy, yet circumcision is legal. Like, the baby does not consent to having a bit of its dick cut off. No, they don't have full bodily autonomy.
Nobody has the level of bodily autonomy that pro-choice says that women should have, except for, carved out through Roe versus Wade, women who are pregnant and seeking an abortion. I wanted to address two things real quickly mentioned in the chat. One is BG that says there was a UK case of a woman suing a doctor for allowing her to be born. She won the case, of course. She was born with severe health issues, to which I got to tell you, if the whole premise of the trial was the doctor is at fault for allowing me to be born, the only justice, if the doctor is convicted, is for the doctor to terminate the person who sued him.
So
Well, that's
basically,
that's what I was kind of thinking.
So basically, the Hippocratic Oath is illegal.
Basically,
yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
I was thinking that myself. If this person is suing their parents for allowing them to be born, then why don't they just allow someone to kill them? And there you go, problem solved.
And the Hippocratic Oath actually does specifically mention not administering abortifacients. The other one that I wanted to respond to was Keith said, pointing out that abortion can kill the pregnant woman too. Absolutely, but they never talk about the women who are killed in botched or even non-botched abortions.
Well, yeah, it's survivorship bias. The dead women aren't alive to talk about it.
and they aren't
So-
statistics that they want to report on.
So I guess those
That's not
abortions weren't
actually true.
overly effective.
All the dead women voted for Democrats who are overwhelmingly pro-choice.
Frosted. They were overly.
Well, yeah, I mean, you took out double the number you were supposed to. That's got to be
Well-
worth a medal.
Only 50% more if she was pregnant with twins.
Let's see. Women across the country face these men every day as they walk into clinics to get health care. We face them from the time we are girls who are harassed and assaulted and then blamed for it. We face them walking down the street. We face them in our own government. We face them trying to take our rights away year after year.
Mm-hmm.
It is time that people recognize that anti-women groups are hate groups. I would like it if folks could do this because they care about women, but even if you do not care about women, folks should do this because misogyny seems to be the gateway to white supremacist fascism.
You know what would have been even better is if they actually said FOLX instead of FOLKS, like folks.
That would be
Well,
awesome.
Well, folks might not have been invented yet.
Oh, that's
Folks.
true. That's true. This is pre.
Anti-woman anti-woman is white supremacy, is Islamophobia. Everything bad is equal to everything else bad.
Yeah, this is full on It's Always Sunny with Charlie and the, bits of yarn going on the wall.
Yeah.
This leads to this,
Did anyone see that meme? Freedom Toons did a video about it. The pyramid of what's it called?
Yes.
What's it called? Yes.
I know exactly which one he's talking about.
I love how Will it just said yes and is not trying to help you with the title.
To quote a certain Jack Gunsky, yes, I know everything about it.
Conspiracy theory pyramid of doom.
That's right.
Yeah. I forget who, but I saw someone cover that. Where it's like at the top are like anti-Semitic things or whatever.
There are crazy, crazy things at the top, and then things that are not really crazy at all. They think that the deep state, if you reference the deep state, that is somehow equivalent to Jewish space lasers.
I mean, same thing.
But how is the space laser going to wear the little funny hat?
By the way, if there ever is a Jewish space laser, it should be the law that they call it the Death Star of David.
And it has the Star of David in the little dish that shoots out the beam, and it shoots for all 6 points.
No, it shoots out a laser. It spins around like a dreidel.
I mean,
No,
if
the Death
they
Star itself is shaped like a dreidel.
if they miss the opportunity to call it that, that's just a crime.
The Death Star of David.
When
Comes
people
out and sings, "If I Were a Rich Man."
If I were a rich man.
When people protest women's rights to bodily autonomy and call it pro-life, we should be calling it hate speech. Calling their movements hate groups, calling their marches fascist rallies, and we should be giving all the counter-protest attention to them that we do to other fascist rallies.
This woman's
So-
got so
so
much frickin' sand in her vagina she can polish a goddamn table.
So you should be giving them more attention, because if
I think
there's
I
a
could-
fascist rally, the media covers that like from morning to night.
Hold on. I think I know the solution to solve this crazy bitch's problems. Get a job.
They
Get
do have a
fucking job.
She writes for Medium, okay? That's
Get
a job.
a real job where you do real work. At least
I'll have you know this is a
part-time.
real job.
Yeah.
As with most
It takes all day to write one of these articles.
as with most
And
female
edit and
authors
spell
of
check.
Medium, as with most female authors of Medium, I think she just needs a good digging.
I am
needs
not going to
Dr.
volunteer to take
Tran.
one for the team. Thank you very
Sorry.
much.
Yes, we need Dr. Tran. Until we start taking hatred against women seriously, we will continue to learn time after time that the white supremacist was first part of an anti-choice movement, that the mass shooter was first a domestic abuser, that the fascist leader was first a rapist, and it will be our own fault that death and tragedy happen, because we did not think it was bad enough when it was just happening to women.
Everything I don't like is everything else I don't like.
TikTok is my argument for why abortion should be 100% legal.
Yeah, that's true.
Nice.
Including abortion in the 400th trimester.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, if
God, look at that smug smile on Nick Salmon's face. What a bastard!
Still got to punch him.
And of course, he's like a millionaire now because of all the libel and slander.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I
they
like
ever
that your account is
disclose-
still under investigation, though, Frosted.
Did they ever disclose how much money he got from CNN?
No, I think it was.
I don't know.
No, it's definitely under some form of non-disclosure agreement.
I don't think.
Oh,
I don't know if he got 7. He probably got high 6, but I don't think he got 7
Yeah,
figures.
because I think he originally was like asking for like 30 million.
He
And
he absolutely got 6 figures. He probably got 7. He probably did not get 8.
Yeah.
Mm.
That's kind of what I
This
figure.
this is CNN below 5 million is probably considered nuisance money.
That is true.
Yeah.
And
They probably have like side petty cash for that shit.
and
Well, no,
whenever,
$5 million is not nothing to a company like CNN, considering how fucking low their ratings are.
Well, they keep
Yes, but
shedding
compared to the
their
cost
anchors.
of losing the trial, it would fall under a nuisance settlement versus
Yeah.
because he was asking for 20-30 million, something like that, because based on the evidence that they had and the claim in law that they had, 10 to 15 would not be unreasonable. You always aim higher for the notion of dickering it down a little bit or settling down a little bit to what you really want.
Now, why do you suppose he didn't go all the way with a case and just seek the full amount as opposed to?
Well,
Hey, look,
Because
I'll give you
You've always
$800
got, say, juries
protracted
are
legal-
wishy-washy.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
Plus there's
it
the
takes-
protracted legal about fights, all that kind of shit.
Yeah, the
attorney-
protracted legal fight's expensive, which chips away at the settlement sum, although you can get legal fees when you win. Reasonable legal fees when you win. You essentially entrust yourself to a jury because it's a lot harder to get 6 or 12 people to go against you than a single judge who might be carrying an undisclosed bias, unless you're confident that everything is so much in your favor that the judge just isn't going to have a choice but as a rule of law side for you. You don't do a jury unless you absolutely have to, because juries are squishy.
Yeah, plus if someone's saying here's some
they can go either way, and a ordered settlement, an ordered decreed payout can be chipped down by the judge. I mean, the jury can say, we award him $30 million, and the judge can take that down to 10 or 5, potentially, depending on a number of rules.
Not to mention, there is still the human cost. Having a trial is a huge toll on a person.
Yeah, the trial would have aged Nick by at least 5 years over the course of one, and if it actually went to trial, it might still being argued today.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. If I was offered 30 million or maybe 5 million, and 5 million I don't have to go through a court case, and 30 million I do, I would really think about it. I would probably take the 5.
Well, what I mean is, if you've got like a $30 million lawsuit going, and they're offering you, they're just going to lowball you at like, here's 500,000. I'd be like, fuck you. You ruined my life, and 500 grand really isn't going to get you that much.
Yeah. No, you wouldn't take it for 500 grand. But you got to remember too, you throw out 30 million out there not because that's what you expect to get, but because
Yeah.
that's what you expect to be argued down from.
Yeah, just throw some ridiculous highball amount. It's like, here, look.
Yeah, well,
convince me to
they
settle.
actively tried to destroy his life. They
Yeah.
didn't
Yep.
want him to have be able to go to school or have a job for the rest of his life. If he was successful, 500,000, even 1 million isn't going to take him from, student in high school to retirement age and debt. The penalty is gonna be higher than that, assuming everything sides with him. And they looked at what they had and said, we haven't been able to get this dismissed. We've got a good chance of losing. Let's put in what we consider to be a reasonable lowball and see what they argue back.
Yeah. Wasn't Rosie
Ye-
O'Donnell? Didn't she actually threaten him with violence or some stupid fucking celebrity, or several celebrities did? I know that there's I want to beat this guy's ass or some shit like that.
Yeah.
Whatever. Next.
Anyway,
And whatever Salmon got, I'm sure Rittenhouse will get like 10 times that.
Oh God, yes.
oh hell yeah.
All right, but
I hope
now.
so.
Rittenhouse has got a little bit of
so.
a tricky on that, just because with the exception of certain statements, up until the acquittal, they had the defense of a combination of stating opinion and just repeating what the prosecutor said. But they crossed the line beyond opinion in some things, and that's where, and you have stuff that was said after the acquittal, especially on MSNBC, and that has the greatest potential probably for a payout for him.
I would say the greatest potential is probably the guy that one company had that was following jurors home.
That was MSNBC.
Yeah, I think that has the greatest potential for a payout, because that is serious fucketry right there. That is highly illegal.
The state line. Yes, the state line.
Caption game.
Yep,
I will.
that's right.
I will confess that I've crossed the state line a few times, but I was thankfully never caught at it. And
That's
the
right.
statute of limitations has passed.
It's time for our second game, which is for the chat only. Jack.
Yeah, Jack. I mean, Mr.
Yeah,
Boobs.
yeah. I
And that
like
is-
boobs.
And that is the
Who doesn't?
caption contest, where I will show a photo of a political person or event, and the chat has to come up with a caption for it. And whichever one we like the best, I'll tweet out after the show. Alright, and this is the first time it's not an actual photo, but an artist's rendition of
What?
Mr. Jussie
Jizzy?
Smollett taking the stand.
Oh,
Oh God.
different Jizzy.
Oh.
I can't wait.
I hope he gets at least a little jail time. Like,
should.
even if it's just like a few months.
I mean,
Well, I don't think the
a piece
police
of-
are going to be satisfied unless he spends some time in. And remember that their outrage was one of the things that pushed this to trial.
Yeah. The thing
like-
that concerns me about all of this is that I think that, he does deserve something, but I'm also a little bit worried that we're going to get overzealous with it, because there's I don't know. I think that it's a little bit of a dangerous precedent to go after people who do things like this so publicly, and not
Well-
give them the same thing we would give to other people just because they're not as famous.
Well, I'm not
Okay.
saying, death penalty or anything. I'm just saying we need a few months because we got to make an example of him,
Yeah.
to show that
Oh, yeah.
faking hate crimes, won't be tolerated. All
Well,
right, so
here's
Kiefer
the-
Dam's already in a very high position.
Yes. We
All right,
have
so-
a strong lead out the gate.
Balls
right,
didn't
so-
touch.
I'm at the end of my rope from this trial. Yes, we got high and masturbated in front of each other, but the balls didn't touch, so it's not gay at all. It's a little wordy.
Yeah,
It
it's
is.
a little
Yeah.
long with that one.
Tell me what those lightly
It's-
tan white men did to you.
Chicago is MAGA country.
Man,
best worst
nothing
Nate
about
the-
that
Nate the lawyer
story made
impression.
sense.
Every part of that story made sense. All of
Yeah,
it.
if you
Mr.
Is it gay to
Smollett, is it
jerk
gay
off
to
with
jerk
another man
off
in a
with
bath?
another man in a bathhouse? No, that's just dudes being dudes.
Who's Gazzy Kodzo?
Oh,
Black
that's
Hitler.
Black Hitler.
Oh, Black Pigeon Speaks is apparently having an interview with him right now.
who gives a fuck?
Oh.
Say, I basically got two considerations on his sentencing. One, he has just been convicted for 5 out of 6 felonies, albeit
What
like,
was the one he was found innocent
4th
of?
degree felonies. It was charge 6. It had to do with false statements to another detective, and I suspect that it's not that he didn't do it; they just didn't present enough evidence to display the fact that he did do it.
Yeah, but one of the reasons I'm so concerned is because we have a tendency to sort of burn ourselves out on little cases like this. And then something big comes along and we just don't have the energy because we focus so much on this one little tiny thing. This is, in the grand scheme, this is a tiny thing.
Let's see. Tell the court how you protected the tuna sandwich.
Why
why
eat a
you-
Subway sandwich when I can be the meat in other guys' sandwiches?
I was just following my way. I don't get that one.
No.
Men going their own way, maybe.
Yes.
He's in MGTOW.
It's
Well-
a lot of these are too long. I think Keith had it right with the first one.
Yeah.
Might be into my
That's-
rope.
That's definitely where my vote is right now.
Yeah.
See, Jack, I've got basically two considerations on it. One, you've got 5 4th degree felonies, which can each have up to 3 years served consecutively. Now, I do not know what the penalty would be had it actually been a real event and they had caught and convicted the assailants. Ideally, the penalty would be not less than that. How guilty, I'll try not to beat myself up over it. See, to me, ideally, the sentence is no less than his assailants would have gotten had the accusation been true. If that's
Oh,
I
3
didn't have
years,
sexual.
then okay,
didn't-
be at least 3 years in.
I didn't have sexual relations with that sandwich.
Ew.
I did not have sexual relations with that sandwich.
See, I like TV Games one where if I'm found guilty, I'll try not to beat myself up over it. But I think the Daily Wire made the exact same joke, so I don't
Yeah.
want to pick that one.
You're not
That's what I
stealing
got from
jokes,
Super
Keith.
Chats.
Last one she got from Super Chats.
Probably from Nick Ricada's LawTube streams, because I've seen some Super Chats from Keeve over there.
Do we dock points to people for taking jokes from other sources?
I don't know.
No, we only dock you for that.
I
But-
mean, it's not like we're treating them like we're not expecting them to be professional comedians here.
I prefer that people make up their own jokes, but yeah.
Yeah,
No,
I like Keith's. I like Keith's first answer.
Yeah, I
I'm
still
just
like the
saying
first one.
The
Uh,
second one, I don't like as much because I saw it from somewhere else.
Yeah.
Well,
What? You've never heard a giant Nigerian yell, "This is mega contraid"?
Alright. Well, I'll probably cut it off there. So, what do you guys think is best so far?
End of the road.
I like, yeah.
I'm at the end of my rope from this trial. Keith's first one is my vote.
Yeah. That's where I am.
Yep.
All right. All right. Well, sounds like that's the winner then.
I'm here to eat tuna sandwiches and get beat up by fake racists, and I'm all out of tuna sandwiches.
That's funny. All right. So I'll just copy down Keeves' thing.
Red Dirt Runner says, Caption, just a prank, bro.
Just a prank, bro.
I have a question. Why would anyone order a tuna fish sandwich from Subway? I mean, honestly, you can make your own tuna fish sandwich very easily.
And very cheaply, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and to go beyond that, going out into a polar vortex in Chicago at 2 a.m.
Chicago, the notorious mega country.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sometimes you just want some tuna. All right. Well, now it's time for our next article, and we're finally going to get some hard, undeniable proof that Kyle Rittenhouse is a white supremacist.
Oh, here we go. Wait a second. I have a prediction that the OK hand symbol is going to show up in here.
Oh, come on. Low-hanging fruit, Jack. Low-hanging fruit.
It's white supremacy, stupid. The right's claim that the Kyle Rittenhouse case has nothing to do with white supremacy ignores facts and logic.
Yeah, never mind that they had a complete social media history search more intrusive than any colonoscopy, and they found nothing.
I mean, we did find out that if you have 4 doors, you get more whores.
Well, and that just stands for reason.
He's a non-white person who killed several white people.
He's legally Hispanic.
Yeah, he should be a hero to the left. In the wake of the acquittal of Kyle Rittenhouse for the Kenosha, Wisconsin killings that left 2 dead and a 3rd injured, conservatives in the media launched into attack mode, accusing the left of waging a misinformation campaign against the Illinois teen. Gee, I wonder why that was. Among other things, the right says that the left is being dishonest when they refer to Rittenhouse as a white supremacist. In order to address this claim...
Well, that's just their tack. The thing is that I could be more upset about them claiming that he's white supremacist, but it's really just par for the course at this point. Like I've been saying, everything bad is equal to everything else bad.
Par for the
It doesn't
nature,
matter.
golf course.
It literally doesn't matter what he did. He would still be called a white supremacist because they didn't like his initial actions.
And before Frosted continues, I'm going to pick another one of those low-hanging fruit and predict that the author of this article did not actually watch the trial coverage.
Why would you need to watch it when you could tell just because?
Just by looking at him.
And if you need confirmation, you can listen to CNN's summation of it.
No, I think BG in chat has it exactly correct. He killed a pedo. The left is mourning one of their own.
Yep.
Yeah. What is
True?
It disgusts me so much when they get all like, they get this weird, like visions of Christ from the people who are just the worst people in the world.
Mark Ruffalo
for start,
talking about JoJo.
Yeah.
I do like the Urban Dictionary thing where shooting a pedo, a wife beater, and a burglar in one night is known as a Kenosha hat trick. Right. In order to address this claim, we need to break it up into 3 different but related things: calling Rittenhouse himself a white supremacist, calling the shooting an act of white supremacist violence, and calling the acquittal an example of white supremacy at work in the legal system.
Okay, so it's not any of those. Next.
First, Rittenhouse himself is a white supremacist. Kyle Rittenhouse was in Kenosha with the Boogaloo Boys, a group with firmly established white supremacist ties. I suppose it's possible for someone to join the Boogaloo Boys Patrol.
Wait. So now he is loosely associated with the Boogaloo Boys, and the Boogaloo Boys are loosely associated with some white supremacists who I doubt are white supremacists at all, frankly. So
Listen,
he's guilty by association.
He was in the
I'll
same
give you one better than
city.
that, Jack.
He was in the same city on the same night, so he's one of them.
Yeah, I'll give you one better than that, Jack, because per the testimony and evidence in trial, none of the people that were there were actually members of the Boogaloo Boys. The notion that they were Boogaloo Boys was solely the conclusion of one of the BLM/Antifa rioters also taking video at the time, pointing a camera at them, and we got some Boogaloo Boys over there. That is literally the only statement of fact or evidence tying anyone at the dealerships to the Boogaloo Boys in any way.
Are you saying we can't trust BLM and Antifa?
Well, we also can't trust CNN, MSNBC, Twitter, YouTube. I mean, the list goes on.
I suppose it's possible for someone to join the Boogaloo Boys' patrol of a protest for black rights and not be a racist, just as I suppose it's possible that Al-Qaeda might harbor a handful of very confused Hindus, but it isn't likely. After the killings, Rittenhouse hung out with Proud Boys and flashed the white supremacist OK gesture.
Bingo.
While Rittenhouse, who had immersed himself in right-wing media and ideology, has denied knowing that the gesture was a racist symbol, I would hope that no one would be credulous enough to believe him. But if anyone does know such a person, please let me know, because I have some premium oceanfront property in Arizona that they might want to invest in.
And that hung out with Proud Boys afterwards. That was set up as an ambush after the fact by his lawyer. We're talking about 6 months later after the shooting. Kyle did not know that they were going to be there and did not know when he initially met who they were.
Listen, he was
that is from another lawyer who was at the time or shortly thereafter representing him.
He was in the same place and he made an OK sign. That's just open and shut
Okay,
white
I take it back.
supremacy.
He's guilty of sin.
Yeah.
The guy's blacker than me.
Second, the shootings were an act of white supremacist violence. The only argument against this point that I have seen anywhere, for example this National Review listicle, comes in the form of a syllogism. No shooting of a white person is white supremacist violence. Okay, I haven't heard anyone say that. Rittenhouse shot 3 white people. Therefore, the Rittenhouse shootings are not instances of white supremacist violence.
No, I've heard it said that the only people he shot were white, so he's like effectively the worst white supremacist racist out there because he didn't get anybody who wasn't white.
I mean,
yeah, he could be an equal opportunity shooter.
I mean, I think
I've never heard anyone say that no shooting of a white person could possibly be white supremacist violence.
Yeah, I mean,
never heard that said before this article.
I think the main point is the fact that there's no proof it was white supremacist, and then the fact that the guys were white is just kind of the icing on top.
I mean, that sells it for me.
It isn't hard to think of examples where white people were killed in acts of white supremacist violence. The most famous would be the assassination of Abraham Lincoln. Probably the second most famous would be the murders of the civil rights activists Andrew Goodwin and Michael Schwerner in Mississippi in 1964. They were murdered alongside James Chaney, a black activist.
And they weren't Democrats.
Thus, the statement, no shooting of a white person is white supremacist violence, is false. This statement is
No one made that statement.
The author of this article.
Everyone's saying it. Weren't you listening? This statement is the major premises of the one and only argument against the notion that the Kenosha shootings were acts of white supremacist violence. So while it could be true that an act of violence carried out by a white supremacist is serving as an agent of a white supremacist militia is not an act of white supremacy, it is nevertheless quite telling that no sound argument so far has been put forward to support that claim. But
I'm
the
going to call
idea,
it now. 3 strawmen set up, 3 strawmen knocked down, undisputed heavyweight championship title claimed.
well, we're 2 for 3 so far.
As I said, I'll take the low hanging fruit.
But the idea that an unrefuted claim is misinformation is ridiculous. Finally, conservatives take issue with the usage of white supremacy to describe Rittenhouse's acquittal. The self-defense statutes that Rittenhouse's legal defense relied on do not mention skin color or race after all.
They don't need to.
Because it's not relevant at all.
Exactly.
Ungirding this argument is the assumption that the only legal structures that can be racist are those that explicitly refer to race: Jim Crow, segregation laws, redlining, restrictive covenants, and so forth. But it has long been understood that racial disparities persist in a so-called colorblind legal state.
Well, first of all, congratulations, Will.
A systematic review of self-defense and stand-your-ground statutes nationwide found massive racial disparities, with acquittals being less likely when victims were white. Moreover, when victims were white, the self-defense claim was more likely to be rejected when the claimant was not white.
Just a reminder that the exact same day, within a few hours of Rittenhouse being acquitted on the basis of self-defense, a black guy about the same age, plus or minus a few years, was acquitted on the basis of self-defense for shooting at police with a gun that he actually did have illegally.
Yeah, but it happens less often, so it's only for white people. Don't you follow critical race theory, will it?
Yeah, Andrew Coffey the Fourth. No, I don't. I see
Critical race theory doesn't exist, don't you remember?
Yes.
Now,
I see a good communist doctrine and I feed it into the paper shredder, burn it, or throw it out the helicopter door, whichever is the most convenient at the time.
Let's see.
Yeah, out of the gaps as per usual.
Yeah. Indeed, some legal scholars think that self-defense laws treat racist perpetrators of violence more favorably than non-racists. That is, if you are white and you kill a black person, you are more likely to have your claim of self-defense upheld if you're racist than if you are not.
Why do all of these claims presuppose that he has done something racist, while none of them actually address anything that he does that is actually racist? It's all, well, it's just because I created this statement and it's totally not like anything that actually happened. But now that I created this statement, I don't even know where I'm going. This guy is just so fucking nonsensical.
The accusation of racism, if the accused is white or can be attributed to be white, is automatically guilty until proven innocent. And the burden of proof is not only on the accused in their mind, it is extremely high. It's not beyond a reasonable doubt. It's beyond a shadow of a doubt.
But well, I mean, for me, where it says you're more likely to get off if your self-defense is against a black person, all that tells me is that black people are more likely to be legitimately threatening your life. So your self-defense claim is more likely to be valid. So this author seems to be saying that black people are thugs.
Yeah, the thing that this person is ignoring, and yes, there is sometimes racism in the system. They work very hard to root it out, especially these days. You know, if a jury gives an indication that they're going to be biased against the accused on the basis of race, they will be stricken from the jury pool for cause. The defense attorney doesn't even have to use a preemptive strike on it. It's like, Your Honor, they just said that all black people are scum and deserve to go to jail if they're not executed. Can we please excuse this person for cause? They obviously can't be rehabilitated in the case of my client who literally only shot because a bunch of people tried to run him over in a car while he was on the sidewalk and then pulled bats and clubs on him. So
I do think it'd be funny to walk into like a courtroom if you're on the jury, go, "Oh, it's a nigger! Can't wait to fry him."
that would be an easy way to get off of jury duty,
Jesus.
unless, say, and they might just call you out on the language too. If they thought that you were obviously and blatantly just trying to get out of jury duty by saying something outrageous, they might still paint it to you. But if you couldn't be suppressed from saying outrageous things like that, aside from sanctioning you, they would dismiss you almost certainly.
Challenge accepted.
Challenge accepted. The thing is, the prosecuting attorneys and the defense attorneys and the judge work together too on the jury instructions of this is what the law says. Therefore, if your determination of fact is this, you must convict. If your determination of fact is not that, you must acquit. You must charge not guilty. And none of those instructions, none of those jury instructions, none of those charges ever says anything about, well, if you found that they were reasonably acting in self-defense, but you determine their skin color is too dark, then you must convict on the charges of murder. If you find that the skin color is light enough by this guide here, then you must return a sentence of not guilty. It doesn't exist.
Yeah. I'm just picturing being in the jury and the judge is introduced. Now introducing Judge Goldstein. Ah, great, a Jew.
Well, the judge is there for jury selection too, so of course you get you get to drop that in early and see if the judge tosses you out of the jury pool with or without contempt.
Yeah, I mean, like if you just like be as offensive as possible.
Bearing in mind that if you respond to that, say if you're there for jury selection, you respond that way, judges do kind of make the rules for their own courtroom. So you might not just find yourself dismissed from the jury. You might find yourself with an overnight jail stay or two.
You can say hi to Jussie.
You'd have a hell of a story, though.
For sure.
Let's see. This is because self-defense claims depend on the claimant's state of mind at the time of the violent incident, and a racist is more likely to be afraid of a black person than a non-racist would be. This heightened state of fear, however despicable and irrational, is nevertheless psychologically real and justifies the killing.
So mind reading.
So yeah, and as nothing to do with whether the person is actually attacking them. That they just have to feel threatened.
3 arguments with 4 straw men. Overachiever.
If you were to remove all instances of mind reading from these people's arguments, how much of their arguments would actually be remaining?
None.
Would there be anything left at all?
You're a poopy head?
Yeah, we don't like this guy. So while Kyle Rittenhouse's victims were white, his legal defense relied on a statutory and jurisprudential framework that exacerbates racial disparities and exculpates perpetrators of racialized violence.
Right.
It is. See it. Look at all the big words I know. It is in this. It is in this sense that referring to the acquittal of Rittenhouse as rooted in white supremacy makes sense.
Actually,
Well, I'm satisfied.
that acquittal is based on a statutory jurisprudential framework that requires the prosecution to prove the facts of an accused crime beyond a reasonable doubt, or the jury must rule not guilty. And it was nearly impossible to make a better case for the claim of self-defense than Binger and Krauss presented during the prosecution.
No, it's just
I would
because
just
he's
like
white.
to say, I'd just like to say to this author, what would you do with a BA in English? So,
There is no way in which people using the term white supremacy in reference to Kyle Rittenhouse as a person, the acts of violence he committed, or his acquittal are lying or spreading misinformation. Lying involves knowingly saying something false, and that is not the case here. Yes, because you're stupid enough to believe it. Most people...
because you can be spouting grossly inaccurate opinions and not be lying if you don't consciously know that they're not true.
Most people on the left, and many liberals and conservatives as well, believe that Rittenhouse is a white supremacist. He joined a white supremacist militia and palled around... Palled? Is that how you spell palled?
Palled.
What? And palled around with white supremacists. That the shooting was an act of white supremacist violence, no sensible argument has been put forth for why it isn't. And
No
that
sensible argument has been put forward for why it is.
He gave
the
one.
burden
He gave
of
one.
proof's on the prosecution.
The person making the exceptional claim is burdened with proving the exceptional there. Receipts or it didn't happen, sweetheart.
Like, everybody gets beat up now and then, okay?
Submit to the mob. Ralph said so.
Yeah. I love the Vouch quote. That's what mobs do. They chase murderers. And that the acquittal was the result of white supremacy embedded in the legal system, a conclusion that follows quite directly from a long and robust conversation about self-defense statutes.
A conversation that this person had with themselves over a joint and probably some meth.
No, I think this person needs to smoke more joints. Not
he
less.
says some legal scholars think. That is proof enough for me.
Some legal scholars think I just see a homeless man who's like got a tobacco pipe.
All right. Well, now it's time to play the last game of the night. And the best game of the night.
Yes.
And that is Porno Gender Edition.
And I'm ready for last place.
Kyle gender is real.
This is the one where I give you 3 genders, 2 of which are from the LGBTIA wiki, so they're 100% real, and 1 I made up, and you have to figure out which one is made up. And
This game is really just a stand-in for try and figure out what Frosted Glass is thinking about at this moment.
and I'll even give you short descriptions of each gender.
The problem being is he can look at anything in his surroundings and make it sound plausible.
I know.
All right, so gender A, Springs gender.
No,
Fluid-
spring.
Oh no.
Fluid gender that stretches from one gender to another like a spring, but eventually springs back to the first gender.
This is such a bait. You're a baiting son of a bitch. You know that?
I don't know what you're
an
talking about.
asshole.
I don't know
You
what you're
piece
talking
of
about.
Shit. You are a piece of shit.
I don't know what you're talking
Dog
about.
shit human.
Now I have to
Query.
get to this. Now I have to get to the second gender, gender B, Puma gender.
God damn it. God damn you.
Xenogender related to pumas or other large cats.
God damn it.
You picked that one because of me, didn't you?
No, Puma Man. The
No, he got it
MST3K.
because of Puma. This is the MST3K themed one.
And gender C,
Piece of shit.
Spinosaura gender. Dino gender, in which someone feels an extremely strong connection to the dinosaur Spinosaurus. Alright. Now, I'm not sure if the chat polls are working, but I'll try starting it so that the chat can get in on it.
I'm going to say Puma gender.
In Terry's
is,
country, it's called boomerang gender.
No, in Puma gender is a real gender, but it's actually a reference to the brand, not the animal. So that's the made up one.
Well, I
I'm
think he
going
would
to-
have. I think he would have checked the one he made up against the wiki to make sure it wasn't there. So I'm willing to believe that if that's the real one, it actually does tie to the big cats. In which case, I've been discovered. Thanks.
Yeah,
I'm going to say
for the fake ones, I do check to make sure they're not real. And it looks like the chat poll's not working again, so I'm gonna do what I did with the last one.
I'm going to say that it's Spring's gender because I think that if Spring gender were real, it would just be singular, Spring gender, not Spring's gender.
And or relational to the season. Although I guess I could see being bouncy. Does that mean that Tigger is Spring's gender?
Hey, you can't say
So
that
I'm
with a
gonna
hard
say
R.
it's A.
Spring's gender? I do actually have one question on that. Does it specify whether or not they can change this to reach back out to the same gender and spring back, or can they reach out to various genders and spring back? Because I mean, it makes a difference.
All right.
I think the audience is going for because what is Spinosaurus to do to MST3K? Was that featured in any of the movies? I forget.
Not that I know of.
Oh.
All right. So I made
Well,
the
I'm
new,
actually
I made the
I'm
new
gonna
poll
vote
in chat.
C.
All right. So
I'm probably gonna be wrong, but I'm gonna vote C.
all right. So Will says C. Jack, you said A.
Yeah. I don't think it's C because I don't think this is an odd one out scenario.
All right.
I think that you thought of that and deliberately you found one that looked like MST3K and so you made another one to make the third well it's not real but you know what I mean to look like it's the odd one out that you made up.
Well, I think he's up to 6D chess with you, Jack. So I think he might be ahead of you still.
That's one of my favorite parts about this game is messing with Jack's head.
Hey, I've got a half decent read on you, Buster.
He
All right,
he plays both sides of the table on the which wine is poisoned game.
All right, Moon and Terry, what are your guesses?
I'll go B.
Yeah, I agree. I think you kind of made it with that one just to get on Terry's good side with the Puma gender. Because Puma Man is the best superhero ever. Even though I don't like superheroes.
Well, you like Tron Legacy, though.
That is not a superhero movie.
I will say
I
Puma Man
watched
is the
it. It
second best
definitely
hero.
is.
Puma Man
I'm-
is the second best hero. Turkey Volume Guessing Man is actually the best superhero.
Yeah, I was half expecting it to be turkey gender.
All right. So let's see. The chat looks like went for C.
Boo.
All right. And the answer is B is fake.
Yeah.
Darn.
What's your reasoning behind that one anyway?
He saw
Sneakers
Springs
in the
and thought
corner.
Puma would go well with it.
Yeah, basically I just wanted to mess with you guys by having two be MST related and one not. All right. And let's look at the flags for the real ones. So we have...
Let's see Springs You know what it was? I bet you that they pluralized it because they didn't want to have two G's in a row. And
So
it'd
there
be
we have-
Well,
Spring
that and there's
Ginger.
probably already a
Springender.
seasonal related spring gender out there.
It's actually got a spring on it.
Yep.
Okay, I'll give you that.
It's just purple stripes with a spring.png on it.
Oh God, no thanks.
All right, and there's Spinosaurus gender. Or Spinosaura gender.
You know what?
It does have the dino on it. Okay, I'll accept it.
You know, I'm kind of I bet you that the only people who are Spinosaur gender are like 8-year-old boys who are just obsessed with dinosaurs.
Well,
Mhm.
no, Jack. I'll add one more group. It's a subset of people completely obsessed with Ark.
That's true.
Well,
Well,
this
there's
was
that guy on YouTube, Spinosaurus Kin, so him as well.
this was our first dino gender.
What the hell is that?
Shit.
Hmm?
That's so. Oh, I see. Okay.
It is a frontal
Yeah.
silhouette of a Spino.
I had to place it correctly first because when I saw that, I was looking at the topic. The fuck is that thing? Like, oh, never mind.
Spinosaur.
How much you want to bet that they just used a still from Jurassic Park 3 for that silhouette? All right. Now, on to our final article. Teaching transphobia. How children's media can be a conduit for hate.
Oh,
Oh,
sweet.
for the love of God. You have control of like every single facet of society, but that's not enough. You
So
gotta
I
you
need to have
gotta
a kid.
Cartoons are transphobic, don't you know, Jack?
I need to have a kid so I can teach it transphobia.
Ugh.
Well, Terry, create a YouTube channel. You can treat the targeted to kids. You can teach transphobia to lots of them at the same time.
There's a good idea.
My children were giggling and shouting at yet another cartoon episode of Mr. Magoo. A
Oh,
hapless
can't
and
have fun, can we?
a hapless and visually impaired elderly man who believes he is having the most fantastic adventures. They like the most ridiculous shit, I thought. I walked
All
by
kids do.
I walked by on my way to complete housework and didn't pay it much mind. When I sat down,
God forbid your kids have fun for fucking once. You probably helicopter them into oblivion.
it's hateful fun. When I sat down a bit later to work on my computer, I glanced over to see a male character making eyes at someone he liked. The camera panned over to shiny high heels on hairy legs with a chiseled face, nervously grinning behind a shaggy blonde wig. I sat at attention. It turns out the character had gotten himself in trouble trying to flummox the efforts of the protagonist, Mr. Magoo, and ended up at a fancy rooftop dinner with a starry-eyed construction worker. His plan went totally sideways.
Yeah, that person, I can guarantee you right now, was just a transvestite. Not the same thing. Not the same thing as a transgender. Not the same thing.
Or there's some wacky series of events that makes him dress as a woman, which happens in cartoons.
Yeah.
I could
It's cross-dressing. This is not a transgender related thing.
In my first
Unless you think unless you actually think that transgenderism is merely dressing in the wrong clothes.
And I'll go a little bit further with where this is going and everything, because my very first exposure to anything related to trans, including transvestites, was Bugs Bunny dressing up as a woman. And Bugs Bunny was always the hero. Every kid of my generation will tell you that.
I could not believe my eyes. I listened to my children giggle at the awkward glances exchanged between two people and footsie under the table. Is this serious? The construction worker was attracted to someone who did not pass for a woman.
Wait, hold on. First of all, this is Mr. Magoo. Do you know how old Mr. Magoo is? This was probably made in the 1960s. Second of all, what planet did you grow up on, lady? What planet did you grow up on where you never witnessed cartoons cross-dressing ever? That this is a totally new phenomenon to you? Have you been living under a rock?
She
Are
comes
you an
from a
idiot?
planet free of hate and transphobia.
Were you born yesterday, for Christ's sake?
The entire situation was presented as a hilarious folly. I thought of the myriad of problematic and downright horrid depictions of trans women I'd seen in media. Tropes of exclusive sex work employment and the big reveal were common and formulaic. Sometimes all we know of people is what we see on television. If I was to believe that, I'd think of trans women similarly as the cartoon illustrated. A poorly constructed charade not yet unwrapped.
It's ma'am. It's ma'am.
If I were to actively seek out trans representation just as nuanced as any other story, I'd find love, tragedy, and triumph as well. I would also see how reductive media portrayals can be despite mainstream praise.
You were watching Mr. Magoo! What
Yeah,
the hell do you think Mr. Magoo is supposed to be like?
This isn't a Hallmark special. Come on.
What, do you think that they're gonna stop in the middle of Mr. Magoo and say, yes, I am in fact dressed as a woman, but I am also a transgendered person, and I am worthy of all the respect of everything. That for every single Mr. Magoo cartoon in history. Just repeat that over and over again.
Mr. Magoo has to present love, tragedy, and triumph. Didn't you hear her?
Which, incidentally, Mr. Magoo was first introduced in 1949.
That's
So
no
basically
excuse.
yesterday.
Yeah.
Last night, even.
The work of undoing what I think I know and opening myself to learning is the bare minimum. I cannot erase what has been done, but I can replace what images I know with ones created by and for trans people. I can seek out...
Saying is your children are no longer allowed to watch cartoons, is what you're saying.
Basically.
Wow, you're a piece of shit.
Let's see. I can seek out trans narratives that hold true to their experiences and the depth of their humanity. In the form of a kid's cartoon?
Yeah.
Well,
Oh
you
wait,
know,
I'm
next
sorry. Your kid is allowed to watch Steven Universe.
well, next, you know, Ben 10's going to be Ben 11, and his 11th form's going to be a girl.
A man is trying to marry a man, my daughter mused. I was nodding all over.
That's homophobic!
The situation is absurd and children realize this.
He is dressed as a woman and therefore clearly thinks he's a woman and should be treated like a woman.
Let's see. It is ridiculous for a man to try courting another man. It's strange and unrealistic in this microplot of deception. While there are many other examples, this is a very interesting, albeit disturbing way children are indoctrinated within 20 minutes. So when they see a woman...
I think we're getting a master class in indoctrination right now.
So when they see a woman who doesn't pass, they view them as men in dresses.
Aww.
They formulate more assumptions from there. They learn that there is something that must be revealed.
I mean, tell me where they're wrong.
Before you say that Mr. Magoo is an old forgotten show from the 1950s, I've got a secret. It's from the 2019 revival of the show. Even after everything activists have screamed, pounded the pavement, and died for, seeds are still being planted into youth to raise a new generation of bigots.
That everything is a genocide to these people. Who do you know that actually died, lady?
I would
And
really...
did they die in a... Oh, sorry.
I would really hate to die for the sake of making cartoons more politically correct.
Yeah, I know. That would be like the most pathetic reason to die on the planet.
I actually would. I would like to die in a freak misgendering accident.
Let's see. Hoping that racists or bigots eventually die off blinds us to the reality that ideology does not die. And by they time, bigots' bodies skeletonize. Their great-grandchildren are plump with hateful blood. I love the
Plump
term
with
hateful blood.
Hateful blood. Well, no, not just that. Plump with hateful blood. Like they're a balloon or something, and you pop
Wait.
it,
That's fat
and it
shaming.
spreads hate everywhere.
That is fat shaming. What is wrong with being plump as a
Yeah.
result of hateful blood?
Yeah, because if you think that trans activists pound the pavement, fat activists pound it a lot more. Ba-doots. This is why we go after our beloved old cartoons, because they plant the very bigotry we try to fight. Some defend these harmful depictions fervently and exalt them to their own children. This ideology and resulting negative behavior stalls progress. In this case, it continues painful cycles where a trans woman must fight for her right to exist against onslaughts of violence. The intimidation can start at alarmingly young ages.
Whoa.
Mr. Magoo is violence, folks. Mr. Magoo is violence.
Yeah, why did you kill that trans woman? Well, I grew up watching Bugs Bunny. Characters are tokens to teach a lesson and relay information, and we talk out of both sides of our face when we allow racism, transphobia, and homophobia in children's media. All of hatred is not a single sharp blade, but pins and needles on someone's feet, drawing out all of their blood.
I'm not surprised you talk out of both sides of your mouth, considering that you probably have 4 chins.
In my corner of the world, I can decry transphobia where I see it. I can find ways to support trans liberation. I can move past my own discomfort and shame to center on the stories of trans people. I can shut my mouth and listen, but I can also speak truth to other cis, queer, and straight people. It is a multi-front fight on large and small scales, from government hearings and voting ballots to our own homes and playgrounds. This bigotry comes from cracks and crevices all over, and it's our job to do the work, to shoulder a bit of the emotional labor and stamp it out.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
I know that actually does have that ring to it, doesn't it? It's like, thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
Okay,
Oh,
so
it's an NES.
this author cross-dressed as a child, as a teenager, as an adult for Halloween and last week.
I love how, like I said, it's probably that in the cartoon, some wacky occurrences ended up with a guy dressed as a woman. That doesn't make them a trans person.
Yeah, or maybe like a guy sees like a transvestite and is attracted to her because he thinks he's a woman, but we as the audience can see that they're clearly a man.
Yeah, and
But-
the comedy comes from the person who's dressed as a woman not wanting the advances, and it being awkward and humorous. Not the fact that not the idea that
But Frosted, Pepe Le Pew is rape culture.
Of course.
Yeah, we gotta
Oh,
keep
and
him out
here's-
of Space Jam 2 so we can have the rape gang from Clockwork Orange in it instead.
Yes.
So here's a still from an old Mr. Magoo cartoon that has looks like Magoo on a date with a walrus.
Oh, now they're shaming walruses.
Trans walrus shape. Walrus gender shaming.
Walrus gender.
Or it's just
And
fat
the first
phobia.
thing, you totally missed one on the plumped with hateful blood too. Obviously, the hateful blood's giving him a boner.
A hateful boner.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, that's all I have for tonight, gentlemen. So I'd like to.
The fuck was
rubbing?
that?
Who's rubbing their microphone?
That was my dog sniffing the microphone.
As I was gonna say, Celeste,
No, that was Severus.
Sevy.
I love how the context of it totally changes your perception of what happened. Like, what? Is someone jerking off or something? No, it's just the dog sniffing. Oh, okay.
Yeah, he walked right over me, went right to the mic, and started sniffing. I'm like, hey.
Yeah, nice cover. Nice recovery there.
Well, sue me for preferring to look at dogs than guys jerking off.
Hey, what you jerk off to in your own time's your own business.
But if you do want to see guys jerking off, just do what Johnny Hellcat did. Put the link to the stream on Twitter, and just see who turns up.
There you go.
or go into a Zoom call with Jeffrey Toobin.
Also, yeah.
There's that too.
But yeah, that was Johnny was streaming, and like he just posted the Hangout link on Twitter, and like this I think there's like some Korean guy that just jumped on the stream and started checking.
Oh my god!
Like, did he have his webcam on and everything?
Yeah.
Oh god, that's awful.
As I was say, if you wanted to go next level, I mean, put up a horse avy and try to get a Zoom call with Chank.
Oh.
You think it was just Cryptic's face reveal?
Probably.
That could be it.
Anyway, I'm gonna shill my co-hosting guest. I like boobs. Does nothing for the time being.
That's true.
Except
I do one thing. I like boobs.
Who doesn't?
But Quippers United streams will be back at some point. And let's see, Moonshock has his Twitch channel linked in the description where he plays games that aren't as good as Super Seducer. Let's see.
Mm-hmm.
Terry Diamantis is on this. He's on Johnny Hellcat streams. He's on Sixes and One Ton Hammers Minion streams.
So Six is Nice Hikes streams and Hammer's Minion streams, and I'll usually be joining Della if he's streaming on Minions.
Yeah, he's on Della Hayes streams. Is that it?
I think so, yeah.
All right. And will it Forge anything you want to shill?
Well, I've got my regular Saturday afternoon streams that I'm either streaming the Watching Paint Dry show or gaming. That's Saturdays at 5 p.m. Eastern on Twitch, DLive, and YouTube. Tomorrow is a game stream that should be joined by Moonshock and Random American.
We're gonna start a new Alpha 20, right?
Yep, new map for Alpha 20.
Cool.
Yeah, you can post a link in the chat if you want. Right.
Yeah, let's see. Yeah, I just need to do some real quick copies here.
Terrors United.
say for whoever prefers which ones. I've actually.
Yeah. Oh,
now where's that YouTube link? There we go.
All right. Well, we'll be back next week.
Don't
same
tell
time.
me that gentle pumping sound is a dog, because I won't believe it.
No, that's my dog licking my hand, which is about a foot away from the mic. Good God, you guys. Here, let me do this again.
This is a dog ASMR channel now. All right. Well, we'll be back next week, same time, Friday at 9 p.m. 9 p.m. Eastern. So we'll see you guys next week.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Yeah.
Boy.